Hello everyone, welcome to Bus A10 Doctoral Studies. I'm Dr. Jeff Mosier. You can simply call me Jeff, that's perfectly fine. I will be your instructor for this course. So with that said, this video's purpose is to give you an overview. So let's get started. On your homepage you will see that there is some information about the course. I do encourage you to read through the homepage. I encourage you to look through our navigation and make yourself familiar with how to navigate the course before you start assignments. That way you have a foundation and a basis for moving through the course. Thus, even Bus A10 does lay our foundation for the DBA program. With that said, I also want to encourage you to look at the Benedictine values. The Benedictine values, in my mind, will be our foundation for how we interact with others in the class. I also feel the Benedictine values are huge, not only the DBA program, but the University of Mary itself. It's truly our underpinning at the University of Mary and sets the stage of how we conduct our work. So, moving on from that, you'll find the next section about the instructor. Here is a brief bio for you in regarding to kind of my research interests. There is a greater bio located on my YouTube channel. I encourage you to check that out. If you have further questions about me, feel free to reach out via email, give me a call, or stop by my office if you're in the local area. So the biggest next piece of this is how to navigate this course. I think the course is pretty straight up. I think it's pretty user-friendly, and I hope you find that it is. If it's not, please feel free to offer me some feedback how we might improve the course at any time. So this navigation section gives you basically overview of how to navigate the course. To me, they highlight the specific important pieces, the syllabus link, which you can also find here, Canvas, how to work it, the Canvas calendar kind of tells you about your due dates, all those wonderful things. Modules is where we'll do most of our work. I like to set up a course in a very systematic way. You'll find in the modules that is how it's done throughout any course you'll take with me. The next portion of this, you'll see the University of Mary's policies and procedures. I encourage you to look over these and have a great course. So with that said, the next portion I want to move us into is our outcomes. So our outcomes, basically, what is it that we expect to get out of this? So there are 4 course outcomes for this course, and they are, as noted, the first one, identify potential problem statements. So our problem statement is basically lays a foundation for our research question. Our research question is really what drives our research. So we want to start talking about that because in a DBA program, in a doctoral program, we definitely want to have a research element. So I want you to think of problem statements and maybe it's a challenge statement. What is it something that I'm finding in my workplace, finding in my life that I'd like to analyze more? That is basically what I want you to start thinking about. How doing research, the first piece of it, I need something I need to work with. I'm kind of hesitant to say ideas. Ideas aren't bad, but you do need an idea, but you also need something solid. So we will get into problem statements as we progress through the course, but I do, at the end of this course, I want you to have the ability to at least look at articles, to look at the world around you and say, this is probably something that's researchable. I should look into this. The next piece of this is to write at the doctoral level. Doctoral writing is a little bit different from different style writings. Thus we'll be doing some work with APA, and we will go over terminology that will help us throughout the program and help us once we get through the dissertation stage. Also, feel at the doctoral level, especially if you have a desire to continue to do research after you complete your program, the ability to present. So we will be talking about through some presentation tactics and how we go about that. Also, the last final one to me, which is probably one of the most important objectives throughout the whole program, is to develop a holistic education. The University of Mary truly believes in the formation of the whole person. Thus, the DBA program is going to look at that piece. From my perspective, what does that mean? My perspective, the program is designed to allow you to apply what you've learned in your experience, apply what you're learning now. It's also, the goal is to create a bridge between academia and industry, so practical knowledge, and you will hear those terms more. I also encourage you to don't separate this. Look at it as a whole picture. How can I use research to help me? How can I use my experience to help me? How can I use faith to help me? So we will get into all those pieces. I also have the grad competencies here. A lot of these competencies do apply to the DBA program. Thus, I think they're important, and I encourage you to look at those. Undergrad, I leave in here just as a refresher. What should we have gotten out of our undergrad degree? So with that said, I want us to move on to our modules. Our modules, to me, is where everything really happens. Student Services module, there's a course success guide that's kind of across all courses. The library can be important to you. This will show you basic service of the library, what other student support services are out there. I did include a direct link to the Welder Library. You will need to look at Welder Library to get your journal articles. I do encourage you to click that link and go through that link and make a tab to where you can log into the databases. And in my mind, in my classes, I do want you to look at multiple databases. Just don't think because you're taking a business course that they all have to be from business journals. In my opinion, there's some great other articles out there. Again, to me, that's a holistic piece. You might find as you go through the program, you have other instructors with a different opinion, and we'll work through that. But again, I want you to look at this as a vast overview. So I do leave this tagged here. This section will never be closed. This will always be open to you, so you will always have a readily available link to the Welder Library. The next portion of this, you will see the course is laid out all in modules. So I'm just going to look specifically at Module 1. What are we trying to do in Module 1? Our topic is the importance of holistic education. So obviously we will be talking about what does it mean to have a holistic education. That brings us into our objectives. Each module, as it has objectives identified. So in that, these are what the things we want to accomplish during this module. So in Module 1, we want to evaluate the need for a holistic approach. Why is it important? Objective 2, understanding the doctoral terminology. So we're going to work through those pieces. And the third objective, basically, why do we need a community-based doctoral learning environment? So this module basically sets the whole stage for the course. I want to say it's a total introduction, but Module 1 is basically an introduction to the course. It also lays this groundwork for the whole DBA program. So you will see in these courses that, let me get out of that, in these courses that everything is kind of laid out similar. We have our objectives. What is it that we're trying to accomplish in Module 1 or in this week? We have a prayer, and I do have a faith-based discussion piece in pretty much all of the modules. And the goal of our faith-based discussion is to allow us a reflection on things we looked at. I know some of you are highly faith-based, some of you are not. I really encourage you, those that are not, try to take this from a very open-minded standpoint. How does this benefit us? That goes back to the holistic piece. When I look at my faith-based reflection, I offer you all a piece of prayer or reflection. I encourage you to read this, look through it, step back of it, ask yourself, how do these questions matter to me? You don't need to take all of them, but I encourage you to look at them. And then I encourage you to go back to our discussion and add your comments and thought. The discussion are basically reflect, how does it fit? If there are journal articles you want to add, there might be something in that strikes you. We might be talking about charitable contributions. It might be corporate social responsibility. I don't need you to necessarily go down a specific path, but I want you to look through these videos, these thoughts, these articles, and say, well, how does this relate to business? Because you will see that part of the mission of the DBA program is that holistic piece. It is to create leaders who are moral, who want to contribute to the common good. So I encourage you to work through these, bear with me, provide some reflection on that, and really share your thoughts. This is also an important part of getting to know you. In Module 1, we also have the directed introductions. I'm going to go more into each piece of this as we move through the course, but in our overview section, we will have, or basically for this overview video, you kind of see how this all falls. We have our objective, our prayer reflection, our faith-based discussion, where we basically have a reflection piece. When we have a specific assignment or two that relates to our academic studies, our education, and the overall DBA program. And I will give you an overview in each of the modules to kind of talk specifically about those pieces. You also notice the textbook adopted for the for this class is a Dissertation Warrior. I will talk to you more about the Dissertation Warrior as we progress too. I also offered on my YouTube channel a basically reaction to the Dissertation Warrior. So I encourage you to look at that and view my video, and you'll get a pretty good idea of what this entails. All this is intended to do a few things. It's to make you successful through the DBA program. It's also foster that holistic education point, and it's also get you a understanding of research and how we apply it in a practical environment. So with that said, I want to wrap this overview up here. I think we got a fairly good idea, and my next piece of video you'll have will be introduction to each module. Each module will have a guiding video to guide you through those modules. You can also expect an announcement to me, and that usually comes in a recap of what we did, what to expect as we're moving forward. So welcome to Bus A10, and I look forward to working with you in class.